Hey there. Welcome to another episode of Heart and Hustle, Visionary Healers, Movers, and Shakers. I am your host, Paulette Rees-Denis, here to bring you magic makers from around the globe, people who are creating change, who have small businesses, large businesses, hobbies, but they are creating the life of their dreams. And that, my friends, is what living is all about. So let us know how you like this episode. Please subscribe, and we'll see you there. Thanks for joining. All right, my friends, welcome to another episode of Heart and Hustle, Visionary Healers, Movers, and Shakers. And if you know me, you know that's what I'm all about. I am Paulette Rees-Denis, and I love bringing you magic makers and world changers and healers and people out to make a difference in the world, people who are following their passions, who've possibly gone through lots of hustle, or maybe not, or maybe they're going through them now. But I am your transformational lifestyle coach, your global dance director and author, musician, wild child, passion instigator, and movement motivator. Bam!
Love it.
So, yeah. So I think I got one of those here with me today. I am so happy to bring you Christina Woods here with me today. And she is also in California. Christina, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I can already feel the energy. Love it.
Yeah, I know. It's so good. I love it too. I love it too. I love conversations. I love to find out what makes people tick, what turns your crank and rings your bell and all those really silly little sayings. But
good.
I think it's good. So you are a hypnotherapist, you're a coach, you're a Reiki master. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I'm sure you do more than that.
A few different things we've woven in there. As you know, they just sort of like land in our lap, don't they?
Yes, multi-passionate. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. This is fortunately my second career. I've always had a passion for helping people. I was in higher education for 30 years, not as a teacher, professor, but I did have a 30-year corporate career. So when you say hustle, yeah, that was my middle name.
Oh man.
And yeah, exactly. Lots of omans. And it, that was like so many women and so many people, that's what I thought had to do and had to be and had to prove myself for so long until I just hit a wall. And after divorce and my kids left the house and it was me and the dog, I just had one of those moments where not only did I have a health crisis, I had a moment where, I was actually pulling the weeds in the backyard in my pajamas. And I just had this moment where I heard a voice like, when are you going to stop listening and looking outside and just listen inside for what you want? And I knew I wanted to change and help women listen to their intuition and find the answers inside. And I had no idea it would be hypnotherapy. I had no idea what it would be. I had led people. I knew I had a lot of skills to bring, but I just said, I'm going to follow this path, and hypnotherapy,
So
the universe
how did that
led
show
me
up
there.
for you?
Well, I started to heal a lot of my own wounds and areas that I needed to heal. So I started going to retreats and cranked up the self-development much more. Lots of crying sessions, lots of looking within, lots of journaling, lots of meditation.
Love that.
Yeah. I have a journal in every nook and cranny of this house. And started looking at, certain patterns, certain behaviors, and why did I put up with the hustle culture for so long? What was it about me that needed that? Because I certainly knew enough about energy that, I knew I was an energetic match for that. So I needed to figure out why and where did that come from? And
so why do you think?
well, I think it was, I felt my worthiness had to do with, I gave my cups to everybody else to fill up. make me feel worthy, help me feel good enough and safe. And I didn't have the belief inside that I was already enough. I was already safe. I did grow up with some trauma and started to learn pretty quickly. If you build up some walls and don't count on anyone and don't lean on anyone or trust anyone, you might be safer. So, those walls were
Mm,
built up pretty quick. And so I had to tear those down and learn to trust and lean in and listen to my voice. And I did that. And I was in a meditation on Mind Valley one day.
mhm,
And Marissa Peer, who teaches RTT
mhm,
hypnotherapy, came
mhm.
across, and I wrote in my journal, Marissa Peer and hypnotherapy is going to change my life. And it wasn't until about 3 years later, I was looking through an old journal and I came across that page because I still wasn't quite sure how I was going to navigate coaching and how I would help people. And I turned to that page and I thought, okay, this is a sign. And I signed up that day for hypnotherapy, and it's
Right on.
perfect. So, there's that's kind of the beginning.
Wow. And how long ago was that?
It was about 3 or 4 years ago that I became certified and became a clinical hypnotherapist. And just from there, everything sort of
So
cracked
you walked
open.
away from your corporate job
I did. I did.
before the hypnotherapy training, or?
No, I kind of weaved. I
Hmm.
I walked away from the hardcore corporate world and started to migrate toward a more balanced life. Found a position in the corporate world that felt, a little less chaotic.
So
Um,
why do you think, here's a question I've actually never really thought about before, but why do you think, I mean, there's so many people in the corporate world, that why can't there be that kind of balance in that world?
well, I think, when we all know about masculine and feminine energy, but I just think that toxic masculine energy has just been
Hmm.
praised and rewarded and
Okay, sure.
and dominant for so long. I mean, I was rewarded for pushing my way through for
Hmm.
so long that it just became what I thought was needed to make it, to get the promotion, to get the raise. I didn't really understand there was a different way.
Hmm.
And until I just knew it was so uncomfortable.
Right.
And
Something
and
was telling you, like, you got.
yeah, this doesn't feel good. I don't like how I look who I'm around every day. I don't like the feeling. This doesn't resonate with me. This isn't who I am, and it shows up in, different ways, eating and health and spending money and just, you're not in alignment with it, ends up with so many ways it shows up. But, you know, uh, working hard to get what you want. I was raised also that you better work hard, or you have to work hard. Life can't be easy.
Right.
And
Oh, I know. Oh my God. I used to say
mhm,
that all the time.
yeah,
I work hard and I play hard. It's like,
yeah,
I know. I'm done with that.
done with that. So, I had to really unlink those two beliefs.
Hmm.
And that's a big one. A
It
lot of
is
my
a big one.
clients, same thing is, you actually can be successful and work can be easy and joyful and
Easy.
fun. And
Fun.
clients can come to
Hey.
you and,
Yeah.
you don't have to stay up till midnight every night and wake up in the
Oh,
grind.
so it'd be so nice if all the women of the world could take over all the corporate worlds.
Agreed.
I
Agreed.
mean,
And
they're needed, that kind of business. They're the type of businesses that help run a lot of the big things. I mean, we need them, or
right.
some of them. I mean, some of them, not all of them, of course. But there's definitely big business and there's small business. So it'd be so nice if that big business could get smacked upside the head.
And whether it's big or small, just have an understanding about balance
Right.
and an awareness that there's a different way to be successful. And, and we're an energetic match. What does that even mean? Like, I have so many clients that I'm working with that you don't have to force something that, you don't have to do.
So here's something that I run across a lot. So I work with a lot of creatives,
Mhm.
and, and you probably do too, but I work with a lot of women who are afraid, who have their own, or they're starting their own businesses, their own
Mhm.
dance companies. I work with a lot of dancers, with a lot of
Right.
artists, musicians, um, and they're starting their own business, and they are so afraid to ask for money.
Me for money.
And
So
I'm just like, come on.
yeah, yeah. You know, in theta healing, we do, and hypnotherapy as well, but we go back in theta healing often to not just this life, but can be ancestral or
Mm,
history, you know, so many levels of healers or creatives where we have this belief that, you know, our craft can't make money, or we have to be the wounded healer type of archetype where we have to feel the pain and we can't help be the solution. And I mean, there's just so many of those archetypes running through that have to
right.
be released. And so often people don't even know what it feels like to actually earn money for doing what they love, and in exchange,
Oh,
you know,
because
just
it's wrong. It's
mhm.
just wrong. It's
Yeah,
like I'm not worth it, or I need to give it away, or how dare I ask for money? I can invest
yeah,
in myself and I can spend a lot of money to get where I am,
right,
right?
right.
And I get so adamant and so passionate about that conversation. It's like, and so what are you charging?
Yeah, it's deep. It's a deep,
So
it's a deep
deep. And
one.
then there's those people who are afraid to invest in themselves,
Mhm. That's
kind
a
of the
deep
other
one.
side of that. Oh, it's
Yes,
huge. Oh no,
it
I can
is.
go out and buy a brand new costume, but forget hiring someone to help me with my
Uh,
business.
sure. Well, even in my own journey, you know, I was quite successful in the corporate world. I could get on stage with in front of 5,000 people and fly all over the world and you know, do some pretty tough things in meetings. But when I came to open my own business and ask for money or do something, I all of a sudden I became this tiny little what, I don't know what to do and how do I do. So I had to, you know, work through all the exactly what you're talking about. So I have a great understanding of that. And it wasn't until I explored what is that about, or what's the root of that. And so much of it was all about, I don't feel good enough. I
Mm.
don't feel worthy. Well, why don't I feel worthy? Why don't I feel good enough? And once I was able to get to the root of it, and in hypnotherapy, in theta healing, and do some ancestral healing of really deep, you know, ancestral healing,
So what?
replace it with a
So
belief.
sorry. What is theta healing?
So theta healing is also going to a theta brainwave, like in hypnotherapy, you go to
Right.
you know, a different brainwave where we, you know, slow down the conscious mind and go into like that dreamlike theta or brainwave state where we're open to suggestions and we're open to new ideas,
Mm.
and we're not going to block them with our analytical mind that says no. And theta healing is really connecting with a higher power and co-creating and witnessing the healing through a higher power. So if you're familiar with Reiki, which more people are, we're sort of like a straw channeling Reiki energy to the person that we're doing Reiki to. And theta healing is witnessing that healing through theta brain waves. And it's a lot of releasing emotions that are blocking people, which is same thing I do through the hypnotherapy, but a different modality. It's
Okay.
very powerful. It often will go back far, much further in
Mm.
ancestral lives and collective consciousness. We hold on to so much we don't realize isn't even ours. And when you can release that and download the feeling of what it feels like to be worthy, or feels like to be, you know, a woman who owns a business and can charge exactly what she's worth. I mean, so many generations don't even know what that feels like. So
Hmm.
how can we expect to know what it feels like?
Oh, right. Oh, yeah. Who, I just think about my mother and my grandmother, and,
Mm-hmm.
you know, um, they were farmers in the Midwest in the United States, and lived through the war. Oh, yeah. You could go back. How far do you go back?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing.
It is. I just had a healing the other day. Someone did on me, and it involved my mother and grandmother, and it was that still a piece that needed to be healed. There's always layers because we think, oh, I healed that, I don't have to heal that again. Baloney, there's layers and layers. And it was about that life is hard and we have to care for so many people. The mother archetype of, I don't get to enjoy my life, I have to serve and please and work and put myself last. And in some ways I was still holding on to that connection of
Mm.
having that connection with them, that kept me connected to them. And that's pretty common. Sometimes we feel if we heal something, we'll be separating ourselves from people. And there's a way to stay connected, and we don't
Right.
have to stay connected to that lower vibration, which
Right.
we
Right. Well, it's
we
kind of
do
that drama,
subconsciously.
the drama and the trauma and the martyrdom or the victimhood.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, and to so many people, that's their story.
Exactly. Well, who
That's
am
their
I if I'm
identity.
not that story? Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. Who am I? If I can
Which
let
is
that go.
scary. Just
Oh,
scary.
but it's so good.
It is juicy.
So
It's juicy.
exciting, but people really, they think that's the only way they're going to be seen and heard.
They do. They do. And even when you want to feel different,
Mhm.
you want that job or that relationship or that new love or new, to feel better. A good question I'll ask clients or myself, whatever we're working on, is, why am I opposed to having that? So, and things will come up because even though we want it, there's always a part of us, usually, unless we're clear on that energy. It's a good question to ask because there might be a part of us that doesn't want it.
Mhm.
And what part of us doesn't want it? I had someone owe me money recently, and my own spiritual coach said, why would you be opposed to having them pay you? Because they weren't paying me. And we're all connected, so why would you be opposed to them paying you? And I thought, well, then they're not the bad guy and I'm not the good guy. And I was like, uh-oh, I'm part of this little situation here. I need to clear on it, right?
Yeah. So many little stories in there.
Yes,
So many
yes.
chords and so many,
Be accountable.
wow. Oh my gosh, this is so good. So you've been on this new path for how long? 3 years, you said?
3 years seeing clients and coaching, and yes,
And how is that working out?
it's great. I'm busy, I'm growing, I feel like I'm flowing. And then of course you get to a point and say, okay, now what? A new fear will come up and now I gotta grow again.
That's life. That's
Yes, it
so exciting
is.
about life. So what's next for you?
Well, I'm starting to find that I really enjoy groups and having classes. Those are so fun. So I'm working on creating more classes and groups and where the women can interact. And I see men too, but I see mostly women. So where they can interact and share and collaborate and use tools on each other. So I do mostly one-on-one right now. And have taught classes, but I want to find a way to
Mm,
incorporate all of those. And I also want to have a podcast, so I might have to lean in and ask some tips.
sweet, sweet. Well, this is my 5th year.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And it's not a huge podcast, but I love it. And I love these kind of connections and I love networking. I
Yeah.
love sharing people with people. And I love, you got to meet this person and you got to meet this person.
Right.
And it's so exciting. I mean, I love the big circle. So I love people's stories.
Yeah, it's been, I thought it would, you know, being a guest on podcasts, I thought would be all right, get your voice and feel confident, and that's been wonderful too. But the connections and hearing hosts like you and your stories and your journey, and now when I have questions or I need support, I have an entirely new network
Yeah.
of spiritual minded souls that we're all connected and just sharing and growing and enlightening the world.
Well, and we need that so much, especially now. I mean, there's still so much um, virtual connections,
Yes.
which has been blessings, blessings
Hmm.
through this whole
Blessings.
COVID thing and
Right.
blah, blah, blah. Uh, and I don't know about where you are, but where I am, like, for instance, I just started a new dance class last night and I had 16 women who were over the moon, excited to be moving their bodies and be connected in circle. And
And
I mean, like, this is what I've been waiting for.
yes.
And this
Yes.
is what I've been waiting for. It's like,
Connection. I
you know,
know. And that is another thing I want to do is create some community, grounded community groups in person.
yes.
Yes. And the
Well,
virtual is wonderful and great and makes the
and
world feel smaller, but nothing like that physical contact together face to face.
yeah, so good. It's just so juicy and vibrant and energetic and healing. And
And
I mean, it's what I've been doing, all my life, really, until COVID and craziness.
you still found it. Yeah, and you're finding a way. And I know I saw belly dancing somewhere on your,
Yeah.
so, and that has been spinning around in my mind for a long time. So I am definitely going to contact you about
I
that.
say you're not very far away.
No, I'm not.
And I'm meeting a lot more people out your way. So
I was jumping in the car when I read that. I thought, no, this is crazy. I've been talking about this. This is perfect.
yeah, it's really time. It's so time. And I mean, I really feel like movement is a catalyst for healing. And
Yes.
and there's still a lot of women who are afraid of that, or they make
Mhm.
excuses, or my
Mhm.
knees hurt and I can't do that, or I'm too old, or I can't move my hips, and I'm like, shut up.
Well, I mean, the energy gets stuck.
Right.
And, even with hypnotherapy or theta or any
Yeah.
of this, it's great, but you still have to move the energy through.
Right. And you
And
have to, there's different methods and modes of moving energy, right? Correct.
right.
So, but moving your body is one of the biggest, because
Yes.
this is what you have. This is your temple right here.
Yes.
And I mean, just to experience this, I'm still high from last night. That's why I have to talk about it, because it was
Yeah, I
so
love it.
awesome. But to see these women, and there was all ages and all sizes, and they've never done anything like this before, and they were just on fire.
Oh, I bet
They
the
were on
electricity of the
fire. I'm like,
group.
you guys aren't going to sleep tonight. I'm telling you right now. And don't go home and get pregnant either.
Oh, I bet. I bet.
Because
I
there's that thing
bet.
going on too. But
Right, right.
it was just, it really hit home with me how desperate's not the right word, but how much we really need connection,
Mm-hmm.
how we need community.
Mm-hmm.
And again, all ages and all backgrounds, and all there to support each other, because there's room for all of us. I mean, I will say that from day one, there's room for everyone in the circle.
That's right. And whoever, whether it's my voice or your voice or someone else's voice or message, we need to just get this out because people need to find their way, a safe way to find connection
Yeah,
and to heal. And the more and more we can do this, then this world, we can stop looking outside for all these answers because they're inside.
right. Yeah,
They're inside.
totally.
And I don't know about you, but every time, I don't even turn on the TV anymore, but every time I look
Yeah,
out, there's just something about something we have to do or need or whatever. And it's like, no, 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 no. Let's, let's connect and feel what we already have inside, but we need to do that together, not
yeah,
separated.
right. And it's supportive and encouraging and accountable, holding
Mm-hmm.
each other accountable. And I mean, there's all those things, but the style of dance I do is tribal belly dance. And if you go back to the early tribes, it's all about that circle of connection, the family or the tribal connection. And everybody has a place and everybody's important. And everybody's there for each other.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And so that's really, that's it. You can be your own person, but you can't be alone all the time.
Right. No, in this Zoom world and home office, and it just seems like it's more isolation.
Right.
Yeah.
I know. It makes things so much easier on one level. Oh, I'm just going to text someone instead of actually, hello.
Right.
Does that drive you crazy?
I had something today. I reached out to somebody on, I think it was on social media. I just sent them a message. I never met them. And they called and left me a message through a voice message through Instagram. And I thought, had I not heard her voice and felt her energy, I would never respond. She would just be another human. Like she would just be another person on a social media. But I heard her voice. I heard her energy. I felt her. That was completely different than any other Instagram message you get, which it felt like a human connection because it was a human connection.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Did you all hear that out there, people?
Yeah. Well, and you've just inspired me to really take this idea I have about creating groups and that accountability and the tribal connection and how we all interlink and
let's do a workshop
mean
together.
Something. Yeah. I'm only 2 hours away.
I'll come out to Huntington Beach and we can do a movement hypnotherapy.
Ooh, I love it. I love it.
I love collaborating. See, that's what I mean. That's why I love connecting. I love people's stories. I love, co-creating. So good. It's so juicy.
Oh, this is great.
So let me ask you, I'm going to ask you one more thing.
Okay.
What do you do for yourself? So I love talking about self-care.
Okay.
So what do you do every day? What's your non-negotiables?
Non-negotiable is either pray or chant, journal. I probably say journal first. Journal, pray and chant, move my body. So qigong, yoga, walk, or something else. If I can't get to yoga, walk, do something. Those are the biggies, and do it in a sacred space. So I have my cards, I have my feather, I have my crystals. I have to be in my sacred space doing these things. So those are non-negotiables. In fact, I went to Europe for a month and was traveling with my partner. And of course, I brought little crystals and things like that, but I couldn't pack it all up. I packed a little journal and I got out of my routine. And about 2 weeks in, I noticed I had more anxiety, and I'm in Europe. This is like beautiful trip. I'm the trip of a lifetime, and things start creeping back in. And I connected with a spiritual coach, and I'm having these conversations, and I was like, I'm out of the things that are non-negotiables for me. And so I did have a talk with my partner. I said, every morning I need my time, and you need to leave the Airbnb or the hotel room because I need to be by myself. And it was a great understanding because, you can't do some of these things with an audience. I can't. I know I can't. I need at least 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it is, 10 minutes some days, 45 some days. But that made the last part of that trip that much more grounded. And I was, I found my center and I was more joyful.
I was going to say, probably more meaningful for you too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But I was off until I did that.
I totally get that. I just spent a week, it's just 1 week in Ohio caretaking for my mom. And I was like, I need to go outside and take a walk.
Our nervous system starts going, what are you doing?
Yeah. God, if I don't get outside every morning, I'm a fruitcake.
Yeah. Before every session, I go outside, I ground. If I can't put my hands in the grass or do something, I go kiss the tree over here. I do some grounding
Love
before.
it. Oh my God, I
Yeah.
love you. Okay,
Yeah.
that's so good. Any last words of wisdom?
I just love and want to impart that answers are inside, and just, whatever anyone can do is try to find their inner compass and trust it, and stop looking outside, and do what they can, whether
Mm,
that's journaling or listening to something, or find that inner voice that helps you feel good about your finding your true self, your higher self. The
mm.
answers are inside. You can heal yourself. You can, do
Oh,
all these things.
yes,
We're so powerful.
we are.
Mhm.
Did y'all hear that out there? Heart and Hustle friends. So good. All right, Christina, thank you
Thank
for
you.
sharing your time with me and with all of us. And thank you everyone for listening and for supporting us on this beautiful Heart and Hustle journey, where I get to bring you magic makers and all these delightful friends and healers and artists and creators and magic makers. And we love it. So leave a review if you can, subscribe if you haven't. You'll get all of Christine's information down below, so you can also connect with her. And until we meet again, I'm Paulette Rees-Denis. Many blessings. Mwah.